A Jamaican woman lands at JFK. She's 42. Her blood pressure is perfect. Her cholesterol is clean. No diabetes, no heart disease. She is healthier than the average American of any race. 12 years later, her doctor tells her she's pre-diabetic. Her blood pressure is climbing. She hasn't changed her genes. She hasn't changed her personality. She changed her address. Something about living abroad is slowly hurting the health of some Jamaicans. The data proves it, but it doesn't happen at the same speed everywhere. 3 countries, 3 Jamaican communities. One question: where does your body survive the longest? Let's pause for a second. There's a medical phenomenon whose name sounds like a contradiction: the healthy immigrant effect. Here's what it means. When Jamaicans migrate to the US, the UK, or Canada, they arrive healthier than the people already living there. Significantly healthier. The American Journal of Epidemiology published a study in December 2025. The finding was stunning. Caribbean immigration is directly responsible for nearly 15% of the improvement in Black life expectancy in the United States. 15%. Jamaicans are literally pulling up the average. But here's the thing. That advantage has a timer, and the timer is running. A 5-country study published by Springer in December 2025 tracked Caribbean health across Jamaica, Guyana, Canada, the US, and England. The lead author, Krim Lacey, found something that should alarm every Jamaican living abroad. Caribbean people back home generally maintained a greater health advantage than those who migrated. Let me say that again. The people who stayed in Jamaica were healthier than the people who left, despite better hospitals, despite higher incomes, despite cleaner water and more medicine. How? The United States, fastest erosion force 1. The American diet. Jamaica gives you yams, dasheen, callaloo, fresh fish, and coconut oil. America gives you processed food at every corner store, high fructose corn syrup in everything, and neighborhoods called food deserts, where the closest thing to a vegetable is ketchup. The American College of Cardiology published data in October 2025. 81% of foreign-born Americans have at least one cardiovascular risk factor. That number rises every year they stay. The longer you live in America, the sicker your heart becomes. Force 2. The stress of being Black and an immigrant. Jamaican immigrants face a double burden in the US. They experience the same racism as African Americans, but without the generational buffers, the family networks, the community institutions, the psychological armor that centuries of survival built. They arrive in a system that was not designed for them. Force 3. The healthcare gap. Jamaica's life expectancy is 75.1 years. America's is 78.6 overall. But for Black Americans, it drops to 74. Jamaican immigrants start above the Black American average. But the data shows they converge with it. They don't stay above it forever. The US erodes Jamaican health faster than any other destination. The United Kingdom, the paradox with a warning. Now here's where it gets interesting. The UK tells a different story, and it's more complicated. A Lancet study published in November 2025 analyzed ethnic mortality across the entire UK population. The finding was clear. Black Caribbean people in the UK have lower all-cause mortality than white British people. Lower, not higher. This is the paradox. Jamaicans in the UK die less than white Brits. But here's the warning. The OECD, or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, published its cardiovascular health report for the European Union in December 2025. The Office for National Statistics data for England showed significantly higher mortality rates for stroke and hypertension among black Caribbean people compared to the white British majority. You heard that correctly. Jamaicans in the UK die less overall, but die more from stroke, die more from high blood pressure, die more from diabetes. What's happening? The Lancet study explains it. The mortality advantage in migrant groups wanes over time. Second-generation black Caribbean people in the UK lost the advantage almost entirely. UK-born black Caribbeans had higher relative mortality than their UK-born white British counterparts. COVID proved it. During 2020 and 2021, higher mortality from the virus temporarily reversed the advantage entirely. For black Caribbean men in England, the paradox flipped. They went from living longer to dying faster. The UK gives Jamaicans a paradox, a surface advantage that conceals a cardiovascular time bomb. If this information matters to you, and if you have family abroad, it should. Subscribe to this channel so we can keep you informed. Share this with everyone in your WhatsApp group, your church, and your family abroad. Now, Canada. Canada, where the advantage survives. Canada tells the most hopeful story. But it's not perfect. The 5-country Springer study found something that no other destination could claim. Trends for improved cardiovascular health over time in Canada. Not erosion. Improvement. Jamaican immigrants in Canada who lived there between 11 and 20 years had a higher cardiovascular risk than those who arrived recently. That matches the pattern everywhere. But here's the difference. After 20 years, the trend reversed. Cardiovascular health improved. Canada's healthcare system caught the problem. Intervention worked. StatsCan's research on the healthy immigrant effect confirms it. The health advantage persists longest in Canada. It takes 10 to 15 years for immigrant health to converge with the native-born average. In the US and UK, it happens faster, but Canada has a cost. The Springer study found that mood disorder risk increased among Jamaican migrants to Canada the longer they stayed. The physical body survives. The mind pays a different price. Isolation, winter, distance from home. The mental health toll of migration is real, and it hits Jamaicans in Canada harder than the data on their hearts would suggest. Canada gives Jamaicans the longest body, but the soul has its own questions. The verdict. So where do Jamaicans live the longest? Number 3. The United Kingdom. The paradox. Lower all-cause mortality, but cardiovascular disease runs beneath the surface. The advantage exists, but it's fragile. The second generation loses it. Number 2. The United States. The fastest erosion. The most hostile environment for black health, but also the place where Jamaican immigrants have the biggest positive impact, pulling up the average black life expectancy by 15%. That's not a small thing. Number 1. Canada. The health advantage persists the longest. Cardiovascular outcomes actually improve over time, but the mental health cost is real and rising. And here's the shocker. Jamaica itself. Life expectancy, 75.1 years. That is below all 3 destinations. But the health advantage at the point of departure is higher than the health status after years abroad. Jamaicans leave healthier than they end up. The homeland gives you the best start. The diaspora gives you the best hospitals, but hospitals don't equal health. Bonus facts. Fact 1. The healthy immigrant effect is so powerful that immigration adds 1.4 to 1.5 years to overall U.S. life expectancy, according to a study by the University of Southern California and Princeton. Fact 2. In the UK, black Caribbean mortality rates are lower than white British rates overall, but only for the foreign-born generation. UK-born black Caribbean people lose this advantage. Fact 3. Diabetes prevalence among first-generation Caribbean immigrants in the US is 8.6%, higher than in Jamaica itself, despite better access to insulin and treatment. Fact 4. The Springer 5-country study found that Caribbean people who never left the region maintained a higher health advantage than migrants in all 3 destinations. The best health outcome is staying home. Knowledge is power, and silence is deadly. Your health is not just a personal choice, it is a structural outcome. The country you live in shapes your blood pressure, your heart, your mind, and your years. That's not opinion, that's data. Subscribe to this channel. Share this with everyone in your WhatsApp group, your church, and your family abroad. Your aunt in London needs to hear this. Your uncle in Toronto needs to hear this. Your cousin in New York needs to hear this. Because the timer is running, and now you know where it runs fastest.